All right, guys, welcome. This is a new release recap. I'm actually got the writer of the book that I'm doing the recap of. Just talking to him about it, talking about his inspiration and whatever else he wants to tell me about his book. This book, this guy, his name is Adam Barnhardt, and I think I said it right. And he wrote the book that you go, can I say that aloud? It's called Shit Show or SH asterisk T Show. Um,
Hmm.
but it was a great read, and
Thank
you'll
you.
see my review, and we'll just talk about his book. So, I guess Adam, let me tell you my first impressions when I saw the title,
Mhm.
and I don't know if this was. You're an entertainment guy. You do the journalism things. You know the old thing of in the '90s. It was really bad with movies. They
Mhm.
would Dante's Peak came out, Volcano came out, uh, Deep Impact came out, Armageddon came out,
Mhm.
Scumbag comes out, Shit Show comes out, and that's one of my first impressions when I saw the title. I was like, "Oh crap! Is this another? Is this Scumbag? Just a Scouts version of Scumbag?" Which is Image's big book that came out, I guess, 2 months
Mhm.
ago, or yeah, because they just did issue 2. But guys, it's not. It is completely not anything like it. Just from the title, that's my first impressions. Talk to me about like why or how'd you came up with this idea for your thing? Because this is your first comic book ever, right?
Yeah, first published work I did like a one shot. I self published. That's been a couple of years ago now, but this is my first published work, and I am glad you bring up Scumbag, man, because the second I saw that released, I'm like, God damn it! Because originally this was probably Shit Show was going to probably be a summer book.
Mm-hmm.
What with Diamond and that shutdown and all the delays and stuff, we were pushed back. So I was like, damn it, because Rick's one of my favorite writers. I love everything he does. Scumbag's just so damn good. It's so bizarre and out there, and it's just like, man, he really doesn't hold back there.
No.
But that's great, and I totally lost the train of thought just trying to
So how'd you come up with Shit Show?
how did it come out? Oh, Shit Show. So, it came to me when I was watching an episode of Shameless. Actually,
Well,
I was
then
watching.
Scumbag might have been an inspiration too.
Right, I was binge watching Shameless a couple of years ago, and I'm like, man, it would be nuts if Frank Gallagher had powers, right? So
Wow.
that was kind of the crux of the whole situation there, and that was just like a idea. I'm slouching down on my couch eating chips or candy or whatever, and sugar's coming down my mouth and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. And then I kept putting it off and putting it off, and then eventually it clicked, and I'm like, man, I gotta write this. I gotta write this. I was actually the main inspiration for that came from Rob Paulson, if the voice actor, TMNT, Carl Weezer on Jimmy Neutron's probably
Mm.
my favorite voice he does. What else he?
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
Yakko for
Carl
Animaniacs.
Weezer from Jimmy Neutron. That takes me
Yes,
back. Wow.
right. So no, I was talking to him, and he had throat cancer, which is
Mm.
especially detrimental, as a voice actor. He was just like, we were talking, and I brought up the idea. He's like, man, you gotta go write it, and he's a super inspirational guy. If you watch any of his interviews or stuff, just super inspirational. So I got off it, and I did an outline, and I did the treatment for the whole series, and then I did the outline for issue 1 in one afternoon, and was kind of off to the races. It quickly expanded. It started with the idea of giving not a guy that's not like Mr. Clementine, that's just a terrible, terrible dude. It's
Yeah.
just a regular guy, or a normal, average farm type kid superpowers. And it expanded, and I quickly was attracted to the idea of a circus,
Mm-hmm.
because I always say the circus is the perfect mixture of both right and wrong. You have the happy music, and the kids are laughing, and the cotton candy and stuff, but then you look over and the Ferris wheel was put up in 30 minutes by someone that was probably doped up or
Yeah.
something, and it's hanging together with two nuts and bolts, and one of the nuts and bolts, like the bolt snapped in half or something. So that's just barely hanging on to life. And then maybe this speaker over here is broken because it hasn't been cleaned ever,
Yeah.
and it's distorting the music, and it's kind of a freak show type sound coming out from the speakers, and there's animal crap everywhere, even though there's no
Man,
animals
you
and
went to some
signs.
miserable circuses back in your day.
Right? No, it's just it's the perfect idea or the perfect combination, you know. And you always look at like circus logos, and they're always rustic. You know, the golds and the reds are always rustic looking and run down and such. So that's
No, the
kind of
proper
what.
term is vintage. There's
Oh,
vintage.
vintage,
Yeah.
vintage. That's what Pinterest is saying now. But yeah, so the vintage circus. No, I just decided to bring in the circus because I really thought obviously that's an organic storytelling kind of device right there. You know, I mean, the world used to have superheroes and supervillains, and now it doesn't. So I mean, if I was a superhero there and I was the only one with powers, I'd try selling the powers as much as I could. You know.
Yeah. But man, it was, I enjoyed it. Like, how did you come about getting, like, did you choose your artist and your letterer and all that, or did you reach out to Scout and they said, here, we'll pull these guys for you? Because I know every label's a little bit different how they approach things.
Right. So no, Scout's great. So the way Scout works is, I mean, the creators are pretty much on their own. You know, both story wise, art wise, and all that stuff. They might make recommendations, but they haven't made any art recommendations at all for me yet. I found everyone through social media. Samir, I posted like a jobs wanted ad or a help ad on an art Facebook group and looked through those things. And Smear's the only artist I even considered for the project once his artwork came across. And then Warnia, I think I was searching hashtags or something on Instagram, and I saw that. I had saw she had done some stuff for Vault at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, she's done Dryfoot for Mad Cave with Jared Lewan. And then Letter Squids was a Twitter find, also a hashtag Twitter.
That's interesting. Like, I've talked to a few guys that are like Kickstarters, and that's how they got their start and all that. It's interesting to say you just because I'm a part of some of those Facebook groups, like the indie comic writers or whatever, and like you literally, I didn't realize people that worked, especially that worked and got you into like a Scout, which is not top tier, but it's not, it's a recognized label. Like, that's impressive to me for your first book, like that you got it to that level, because a lot of Scouts books might have initially started on a Kickstarter and then they picked them up. Or the same thing for if you did Source Point or if you did Vault. A lot of their books, they spy them out, but for you to be a first time writer, to get into and get onto Scouts, and I mean, and it's also you've done a good job of self promotion, but then Scout's done a good job of promoting your book too, to where it's I imagine any store that carries indie labels would have your book on the shelf, which is impressive. I mean, it's not because there's smaller labels in Scout. Scouts say, I guess I'd say third tier is in my mind. Like, when I think of tiers, I think like Marvel, DC. Then you got like your Image, Dark Horse, Boom, or whatever, and then you go down. You got Source Point and Scouts and Vaults and the Mad Cave, Aftershock. They're also right there at that next level.
Well, man, I cannot believe they picked it up. They officially agreed to. We signed the deal 14 months ago.
Wow.
What is it? 13 months ago. Last October, November, late fall-ish is when we actually did the deal. So this was in the works far way back, 2 years at least. At least the script's been written and such like that. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I don't know how to counter that because I'm right there with you. I'm totally blessed that one, they would even take a chance on me or the art team, but also take a chance on a book called Shit Show for one. So I'm just totally blessed that they even wanted to go with it.
So with this, like, and I sort of, when I read the story, I felt like especially smaller books, smaller labels, trying to get as much information to the reader as fast as you can, because you want them to like the book and then go and read the next book, and then go to their LCS and say, hey, I want this on my pull list. Like, I know the hard thing, and I don't know if your book's going to be one of the ones that Scout's doing this with, where they're doing now first issue, wait 2 months, then issue 2, so that word on the street can get out to people. Hey, this is a good book. You need to get your FOC so that 2 and 3, because a lot of stores will do issue 1, and then if it sells, they might even do issue 2, but they don't do issue 3 unless it sells.
Mhm.
So
so that's Scout's doing that with all new titles.
okay.
All new titles past November, and like it's a brilliant move for me because I'm Adam Barnhardt and I've never written a comic before, and Shit Show Volume 1 is 3 issues. So if that were the case, issue 3 would have been in previews this month, right when issue 1 comes out. So we're like, who the hell's going to buy 2 and 3 from one, a title they've never read, or a writer they've never read, or any of this stuff, you know? So I applaud Scout for making this decision, because now 2's going to be in January's previews.
Okay.
I think. Hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn. I believe it's going to be in January's for a March release. Okay. So it's perfect because now 1 comes out and retailers have weeks, you know, to
try to convince people that the title makes it a good book and not a. I still won't leave this out for my child or my nephew to read, but but actually, when I opened up in the reality, it's not this dirty, pervy book. Now, Scumbag is dirty and pervy and amazing at the same time, but yours was a really good read. I loved some of the world building you're trying to do, and I was so annoyed. I was like, "Damn it!" I opened the last page. I'm like, "Now I gotta wait 3 months." It almost opens with the end page opens like how the second page opens. Like, I'm like, "Oh crud, yeah, this is awesome." But now I want to know what's happened. I also want to finish the story of what happened first. And I know that's the beauty of what you wrote. So it's 3 issues. Is that by your choice or by Scout's choice, or?
That is totally by my choice. I originally had like 3.5 scripts written out. But then I'm like, we're not going to release a 10-page comic or something, you know? So we tweaked it and got it down to 3 issues. But I think that's just kind of best. I didn't want this. I have a much larger plan in place. You talk to writers, or you go to these panels at conventions, right? How to write comics or Breaking In 101 and whatever. And every single person sitting up on that panel is going to say, start small, do short stories, do this, do that. So I did not listen to them. I do not know why. I do have an overarching plan for this, but I think I managed to break it up, not into an anthology really, but I broke it up into 3 issue arcs, I guess, that each tell a story about Richard McCoy, and all of the arcs are going to tell this overarching story. You know, I have an ending planned out, how the Shit Show universe ends, and we'll get there. You know, Volume 1's totally a self-contained story. You know, Blom's the villain throughout.
So say that again. The name? How do you say the bad guy?
Blom.
Balem. Balom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Balaam.
See, I was thinking Balaam because I was going back to my Bible upbringing. It's like Balaam.
Right. You could say it, Bala. I don't know. Is it actually?
You're the writer, so it is how you pronounce it. So it's Balaam. Okay.
I call it Balaam. Yeah. So he's the villain for Volume 1. Volume 2 has a different villain. So does Volume, so and so and so and so and so and so. But yeah, so Volume 1, The Magnificent McCoys, is the 3 issue arc. You see, if you pick up issue 1, I'm not sure if it's in a digital copy or not, but if you pick up print copies of number 1, there is a short story tapped on to the back, which I also
bear unicorn thing.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, because I just interviewed Garrett Gunn in Warcorns, so I was like, damn, I'm in this unicorn mode, and then I'm like, I love this bear world, and I want to know what happens in it, and please continue that too.
Right. Yeah, I am continuing that. I'm working on something fun right now. I think that's probably a thing I might have to pitch. I'm not sure what I should or should not say yet. But Lemon Drop, the killer bear, is coming back. It's like you watch the MCU movies and it'll say the Guardians will return or something. Yeah. Lemon Drop and the killer bears will return someday, and it's so fun developing those characters, man. It's just full on comic book goodness. It's going to be like a super meta take. somewhere between Deadpool and the Care Bears plus Willy Wonka, and it's just this. It makes zero sense, but I have fun writing that type of shit, and I hope people, enjoy reading that type of stuff. It's certainly something unique, I think.
Well, and I'm discovering that most times is not necessarily mainstream, but there's entire world of comic book fans that like reading the off-kilter, cute and cuddly evil at the same time, or cute and cuddly and bloody and guts, and they love reading the. I mean, that's why Rick and Morty was such a success as a cartoon. And when I think through all that, like, okay, that's why the Franklin and Ghost that Garrett Gunn did has become a success or whatever. I can see your bear story, and wherever it goes, I'm like, that's just fun. Now, what type of cartoon, if it could ever be made into a real thing, I don't know, but at the same time, Adult Swim had a freaking talking milkshake and what is it, Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Yeah.
I mean, they've had worse things that I ended up watching 20 episodes of or 4 seasons of, and you're just like, I did it. It was, I don't know how I ended up watching that show, but it was hilarious, and I told my friends to watch it. Some shows are destined; you have to be a certain level of high to drink and eat them. But,
exactly. See, that's the thing about, Hollywood, man. It takes one decision maker. It just takes this one person. And I always go back to the Seinfeld arc when they're developing the sitcom. The one guy's interested in, as soon as he goes off on a bender or whatever, and the next person steps in, it's the pilot's off. Spoilers for Seinfeld, which is 30 years old by now. The pilot
I was just into that episode on Hulu.
Right. No, the pilot doesn't happen. No, it just takes one. And that's the same thing with comics, man. Well, in Scout's case, that there is a committee type thing that does look at submissions. So it has to be 6 people that agree on it or something like that. But the idea remains the same. It's not like you have to win a popular vote to get your story made. Write your story and someone will probably buy it somewhere. There's these publishers popping up all over the time. I am seeing 2. I saw one that just popped up, signed like a Simon and Schuster deal. I don't even remember who it was. And then there's another one that's doing like this interconnected universe type thing. So, these publishers pop up all the time, or at the very least, self-publish it. Kickstarter doesn't cost anything out of pocket, and you're only paying fees and stuff. So,
no, I don't know. I do have to say I did enjoy the world. I'm sort of hearing that there's little 3-issue things. I'm definitely getting the next 3, and hopefully you go get a chance to do volume 2 or whatever. But I also am like, this is a world. It reminds me. Of course you get compared. Anytime you say superheroes, and you need, like, everything is comparisons. Is it like this? Is it like that? When I read it, I was like, okay, this feels like, what if Black Hammer had been a little bit darker and started off a little bit worse, and then I thought of the movie Hancock and how freaking psycho Will Smith was as a character, and I'm like, I'm throwing all that together, and I'm like, this could have potential, especially when I'm thinking of how the Black Hammer world has kept expanding. And I'm like, but at the same time, like you said, you don't need to be big. You need to get through 3 issues and then have enough people ecstatic about it that 3 issues you can release again, and then 6 issues. And then, but at the same time, this is not your day job. This is what you're doing on the side. Would you prefer this to be your day job, or would you like to keep writing for? I'm not asking you for put your resume in or anything like that.
Right. No, it is. Maybe, a lot of people always, a lot of interviewers always ask, who's your dream character to write or something, and for the life of me, I can't ever see writing creatively full time.
Yeah.
I have one, I'm not sure if you can see my Iron Fist shrine over there, but I think I'm probably the world's biggest Iron Fist fan. I have one Iron Fist story I'd like to tell. Yeah. But that's it. I don't want to write Superman or Spider-Man or even the X-Men or something like that. I am so glad you brought up Black Hammer. That's my favorite comic franchise of all time. And I think it's almost probably too apparent by the way I write and the way I'm planning things out between Black Hammer and Hellboy. There's kind of the whole structure of what I want to plan for the shit show universe. And the good thing is I'm a writer, so I'm wasting significantly less time writing a script if it doesn't move forward or get picked up than an artist is,
Yeah.
Drawing 22 pages and it doesn't get picked up. And, that's 22 days of work, bare minimum.
Yeah.
Most artists a lot more. Whereas if I put my mind to it, I could probably do a 20-page script in half a day.
Yeah.
At least bare bones,
Now you're not supposed to say that because if you're getting paid per day, you're just wasted.
I know.
But no, that makes sense though, especially because this is all in your head.
Mhm.
It's just spitting it out. Now, taking half a day to write the thing, and then you go back over it and do, of course, your corrections and reviews and all that. When you take a moment to breathe, I fully like when I'm in writing mode and writing my articles or doing my real job, whatever, and writing and working on things, I can pump stuff out really fast because you're in that zone. You're just flying through it. And I know, I mean, I've talked to a few artists and colorists, and they're like, "Dude, I can do a page color in 30 minutes." But at the same time, I'm like, that's because you've been doing it for 25 years.
Right.
There's a difference. You have a style. They chose you as a colorist because your style. And my sister deals in photography, and it's like they have certain things on their computer. They hit a button, and boom, that picture is done automatically. And then they just go tweak things. I mean, like that type of stuff. As a writer, you have that world that you've created, and that's so cool. Like, I like the characters. Not even like for me, Richard McCoy was interesting, but I was more interested in your circus characters. I wanted to meet them and get to know them outside of helping drunk Richard get up and go into the circus. I was like, wait, okay, the fire kid is that kid, and the girl is that girl, and Ice Girl, and then the guy who turns into a tiger, and that was all one splash page, and that's all you get introduced to. And then it's like, wait, the tiger guy, was he the guy who stole and like read through all the different characters? How many characters were in the first splash page? And how many characters were in the second big splash page? And like, I don't know. As you can tell, I analyzed the book a lot, mainly because I was going to write about it. And I was like, and I'm also going to talk to you about it. I was like, dude, this book, because to be honest, when I got this, I got the Iggy variant. When I got this, I wasn't going to open it to read it. I was going to get the real issue, and I probably still will. I just haven't had a chance to go to my LCS to get it. But it was such a cool, and I love the actual interior art. That is gorgeous. And you say it was Samir
Samau, yep.
Samir Samau. So like, just some of the pages are just gorgeous, and like the way you drew, way everything was created. And I love the narrator, the narrator that sort of helped tell the story. And it's still I'm going through my head like, I think I know who the narrator is, but I'm not 100% sure yet. It could be a surprise, could not. So, and I like those elements in your storytelling.
I will say there's no chance in hell, There is a narrator to this. I will say this. It's not some weird just me narrating or creating a narrative structure.
It's not a fourth world Deadpool.
No, right. It will be revealed in due time. But yeah, you have hopefully I reveal it in due time. But if you know who it is, I'm pretty sure you've hacked my Dropbox or something.
But that's good to know that I don't have to strain over. I think it's this person who was but
so you bring up a good point about the characters. That was the first note I ever got. And it wasn't even before we were with Scout. I was just passing it along with some acquaintances and friends and family. And the very first note I got was like, man, I kind of broke another cardinal sin about shoving characters in here. But that's the thing with superhero books, man. There's a reason why Avengers Endgame is the highest grossing movie of all time. Everyone loves seeing everyone on the same page together. And that was I wanted to pay a nod to superhero books right off the bat. I wanted us to have our Legion, our Legends Legion right off the bat. I wanted us to have our Avengers, our Justice League right off the bat, just to help prove why Rich is doing what he does in the current day, right? That whole world was set up, and all those are in there, and it's kind of like a yin and yang type scenario between old school and new school, a little American Gods-esque with the old gods and new gods type of deal. I don't know what I can say or what I should say. So this shit show is very much the story of Richard McCoy, right? Mm-hmm. He is our protagonist. As you can see, Macabre, however you say it. I think people say it both ways. I
Yeah.
say Macabre. Um, she's slowly kind of became one of our favorite characters to develop over the course of this. Both
Yeah.
me and our editor, Andrea. I know Andrea loves the hell out of Macabre. So there's a story. I have several scripts written for her, but what I wanted to do, kind of structure wise, is each volume will kind of look at one of these characters, at least the McCoys, because they are our main
Yeah.
characters. So like volume 2 looks at Ash.
Mhm.
And there's a super. I'm excited to get to that one. But we'll see where it goes.
But
I probably shouldn't reveal all my cards just quite yet.
no, but I just like hearing that because if I've chosen to like this world that you created after issue 1. If people choose to like it, they do want to see, are they going to develop out this guy or this character? And that has to be hard. And because you're a nobody when it comes to comic writing or whatever.
That's absolutely true.
I hate saying it that way, but you don't get the ability, and I sort of write this when I write my review, like you don't get the ability like Jeff Lemire got. He knew he was going to get his 6 issues or his 12 issue arc for Black Hammer. There was not a, hey, you write as long as you want to write because you're Jeff Lemire and you've written so many amazing things. You're Adam Barnhardt. You've written some great articles for comicbook.com. But what have you done for comics? You don't get a guarantee of 6 issues, or you're lucky. Hey, you get 3, or you get, now that's your choice. I know, but because of the way publishing works and whatever, and there's been way too many comics that I've picked up and I've loved, and then it hit issue 4 and they're no longer getting done, and I'm so annoyed. And I'm like, I love this book. What happened to Fair Lady? What happened to this book? What happened to? So you have to create as many characters that we can get attached to, and that has to be hard to write 22 pages and have us become attached not only to your protagonist, but to a couple of other peripheral people that could become important if this world branches out into what you would love for it to be. At the same time, maintain your day job.
No, totally. And you bring up excellent points, man. Issue 2 really does a good job that kind of gets it. Well, it does. It gets into a few more of these supporting characters in a sense, especially Bridget in particular. As you could tell, she's certainly very much a part of Rich's support team at the moment, even though when hardly anyone else wants to be, they're kind of.
Did you write, what was your introduction to her was she's the ice queen or something, but the heart of gold or melts?
Yeah, warmest of the bunch or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact words, but yeah, she gets more of a spotlight in volume 1 too as the story drags on. But yeah, you bring up a good point, and that's another. It comes back to the. It comes back to the 3 issue thing, right? Because we're talking small press indie comics. We're talking about comics that are funded by creators, and I would be lying if I said budget didn't come into it, I mean, if I wanted to, I would have drugged 3 issues out into a 12 issue maxi series if I could have, and just done a super intense character study. But comics are expensive as hell to make, man. And budget's a huge part of it. I know you're supposed to say, oh, you got to tell the story, and you got to tell the story as best as you can. But I mean, budget's a huge part of indie comic creation, and that's another reason why the 3 issues is great. I want to be at a place where I know I can get the 3 issues done.
Yeah.
And I want to tell that 3 issue. I want to tell that chunk. Maybe you won't, if we pull the plug on Shit Show halfway through this grand plan, at least you'll have, well, this story was this story. I mean, you'll miss the huge climactic finale, but at least you'll have this story and this story and this story and this story to consume.
But I know, and from talking to a few guys, it's not sometimes it's the issue is important, issue 1, 2, and 3. But if a lot of comics now make their money not on the floppies, not on the single issues, it's getting to the trade. If you can get a trade out there and a trade gets handed around to people, and that's how word of love for your stuff. I mean, I do have to, like, a lot of the indie books I end up picking up, I don't necessarily pick them up when they come out. I pick them up because they're in a dollar bin now. Sadly they fall into a dollar bin. And then I pick it up and read them like, well, crap. I hope this made it to the final arc because I've read the first 3. I got to find number 4, and then 5 and 6 are on the shelf still. Like, it's that I wish I had picked it up, but it's so hard because as a reader to determine what's good for me, what I like, but also like certain books, like a book that came out a couple years ago, I did a review on called Little Bird. I don't know if you read that. Gorgeous book, another first, but I didn't read it when it first came out. I didn't read it, but like, it might not have made it to 6 issues if enough people didn't decide they liked it. And then I read it on trade. I'm like, well, why did I miss this book? I'm glad I picked up Shit Show. I'm glad I'm writing an article hoping to encourage people to read this book and to check it out because I liked it. As soon as I got done reading it, I DM'd you. I was like, hey, I want to see if we can do a little chat. I like talking to creators, especially guys who are just starting and figuring out like, what can I do to help you at the same time, just talking to you about what you got going on.
No, thanks. I appreciate it, man. And you are very well versed in. I think we have the same like wavelength and stuff because it's clear. I mean, comics are slowly gravitating towards more and more trades and self-contained graphic novels. Look at how well TKO is doing with their.
Sarah was great. I read I think 3 of theirs.
All right. Everything it's all quality things, and you'll get the story all at once. They're great, and everyone's just doing. There's the discourse around the graphic novella as well, just one shots that are longer than like a 40-page one shot.
Yeah, I think Declan Chevley did Bog Bodies was that way.
Yep.
It was really good. No, you're right. There's so many. Now, of course, your big boys will never do it. I mean, that like Marvel, but I say that Marvel and DC are also learning. Hey, some of the way to make money is with these characters that they know are good, but they will never be bought into by us. This old generation of guys who sit around and talk comics, they put them into school libraries. So they make these trade paperbacks that go straight to school libraries. Sorry, your book will never make it into a school library.
Right. Hope not. I don't think I'd want to go to that school, to be honest.
But they're marketed that way. Yes, they make floppies, but they know, like Miss Marvel is a perfect example of a book that it wasn't until the trade hit the shelves that she blew up, and then everyone started going crazy for her. But it was the trades, and I've had Ross Ritchie tell me that book was that because of the trades. Like it's not because of the issues. No one buys the single issues. People buy the trades of that book. Like your book, I think people buy the single issues because they're collectors and they're great, gorgeous books. But the trades, a 3-issue, because yours won't be a full trade paperback. It'll be one of those mini softbound because 3 issues doesn't make a full, or what is it?
Right. So we're doing there's
or will you slip those last 10 pages you didn't get done for your, and there's the bonus to convince us.
So there is back matter. Let's see if I could pull this up. Can I share my screen, or can only you share your screen?
No, you should have a button down at the bottom that says share screen.
Let's see how much trouble I can get into today, huh?
Hey, this is you.
All right, it's not you getting into trouble. You don't give a shit. It's just, no, I won't get into trouble for this because this is. So if you can see right here, let's zoom in a little bit so I'm not showing you everything. You can't if you can read that.
Yeah.
Encyclopedia of the Shit Show Universe.
Ooh, nice. Because you drop cards early on your Instagram for the different characters that you get introduced to in the first splash page, and then things happen. Yes. Ooh, that's a fun cover too.
There's Rich McCoy. So the plan is to put some back matter in the trade paperback as well. Encyclopedia of the Shit Show Universe #1 is done. I'm not sure if we will release that or what the plan is. The back matter's there. I'd like to do digitally, in that breakup we're talking about with the month span or whatever. I want to drop it in the middle of January, just to say, hey, look, we're still here, and Shit Show comes out in March or whatnot.
That will be interesting how you all navigate this, because I like the concept of Scout from the standpoint of it is hard to get word of mouth when one of the things I do on CBSI is I cover the new comics that come out. So I put the entire list up, and getting a Scout book on the list for me, I just put variant. So unless I read the book, I don't get a chance to ever put that on the list. So like Scout, your book would have made the list because it had the 1 for 10 variant, which is gorgeous. I personally like this Izzy's cover, but the 1 for 10 variant was gorgeous as well. I can't remember who did it.
Juan Angel. So Juan did both of those.
Oh,
the
really?
Izzy's one and the Game of Thrones homage type deal.
Yeah.
He did that one. He did the one I just showed you.
Yeah, because this.
So I Juan and I pretty much do all of the key art for all of like before I even write a story, I have him develop something just so I can have it on one screen.
Yeah.
And look, for inspiration. And I have prints somewhere of the whole entire.
Because he was a video game guy.
Video game designer, a character designer, or concept designer, or creature. He's dabbled in some comics and stuff, and we've collabed on probably 20 pieces now.
Okay. Because this is not Richard. This is shoot. You just said her name.
Macabre Mill.
So that I didn't realize that. Of course, I mean you have to open the book to know there's more characters than the drunk guy on the cover of the other 2 issues. But
right. No, Izzy's exclusive. He took to that character as well, and we had that art. And the second we saw the art, he's like, "Yeah, I want that to be my deal." There's so many other pieces out there Juan did. It's just incredible. I would show you. They're sitting on my floor back there. Luckily, my camera's tilted up far enough so you guys can't see because the one on top's a huge, huge spoiler.
Come on, lean in.
This is one of my favorite panels, though. If you can see that, I got posters made too. That's an issue 2. You'll see issue 2.
Are you talking about the guy in the tie behind you? That's
right. Oh no! So that is.
I was like, that looks like a church photo or something.
No, that is from Iron Fist, the Netflix show. No one watched season 1. That's actually Dave Wenham. Harold Meacham from the Netflix show. That's a prop from the.
Okay, gotcha. It's now I see it. Like from the small picture, I could not see that. I was like, I now see that it's from Iron Fist. That's awesome. But yes, thank you so much for. My goal is to have this done and out by tonight. I did really enjoy watching, or not enjoy talking to Adam here, but I also loved reading the book. Guys, check it out. Figure out a way to go to your LCS and check it out, give it a read. There are a couple of places you can find like the first 3 pages where you can sort of get a glimpse of the art more. So I'm going to have a couple images in the article, no big reveals or anything like that, because I do want you to read the story. It is a fun start. And I do hope he definitely finishes the first 3, but I'd love to see where it goes from there. Hopefully he's not going to leave us all hanging and have a really good first issue and then the rest be where he half-hasses it. I mean, he calls it shit show, but hopefully that's not an indication of where his writing's going to go. So
hopefully, yeah. I think I like to think I stick the landing. How about that? We'll see. We'll see what you guys think. But yeah, check out your local comic store for that. I do have to drop the obligatory scoutcomics.com if your comic shop doesn't have it, just because it's not every store carries Scout or whatnot. But some stores did. I should mention this. Some stores did get a secret shit show Christmas flip book.
Ooh.
So that has all of issue 1, and you flip it over. Not only does it have a special Christmas cover, but it also has an in canon Christmas story.
Oh wow, that's exciting.
That's out in the wild. That's totally secret story. People do secret variants. We said, screw it, let's do a secret story.
So you have to actually open the book to find the story, or do you flip on the back cover and it has a different cover?
No, you'll know what it is because it has a different cover. There's those are that downstairs. Yeah, it has a Christmas. I don't even have the Christmas cards here.
I saw you post them on Instagram because the book came out a week later than it was supposed to. So you had these the McCoy's Christmas cards or whatever.
Yeah. So I have there's Christmas cards out there floating about. But yeah, you'll see. It's at the one side is the number 1, but the trade dress is different. It'll say this is a flip book, so you just flip it over and there's the Christmas cover there instead of the regular back. Plus, it's major thick. It's a thicker book. It's like
That's awesome.
4 page.
That right there, because we're CBSI is a spec site, so they're going to go, wait, what? There's an effing flip book I didn't even know about.
Yeah, and shops couldn't order it. It was just randomly sent. We tried pulling our best Rob Kirkman apparently the same exact week.
Yeah, I think he trumped you because he had the crazy video. I mean, I don't know if you could have come out with a video. And there's this random book that is in my box,
right? Parallel universe book, but yeah. So there's a secret flip book around there. I don't want to call it a secret variant because it's a whole ass book and it has a story in it as well.
That's awesome. I'm sitting going, do I need to go to my store today before I post this video? that is exciting. I like how you guys at Scouter, I mean, granted, this is your first book with them, but I like how they are beginning to approach and just coming up with new ways to get their stuff out there. You guys, scout.com, if you haven't been there, you can get Shit Show. I think you can get the retailer variant on the site. They have a web store exclusive and they have a New York Comic-Con exclusive. So all those are available at varying prices. Then the book I got came from Izzy's comics store, and I think they're in Alabama somewhere. So those are there any more variants out there for issue 1?
We have 9 total. There's 4 store exclusive. There's Izzy's. The Collective did a Goonies homage. Goonies,
I have seen the image of that.
Who else? Hive Comics is another Facebook group. They did one. I'm missing someone. I feel so bad. The web store. So the web store exclusives by Rich Woodall. Rich is an amazing. He's been somewhat of a mentor to me developing comics and stuff.
And he's just pissing on the wall, isn't he?
He's pissing on the wall. You see butt. I call it the butt cover. It's peak shit show.
I got a colleague who is a diehard butt cover guy. I need to buy him that book and send it to him because that's not what he means when he likes butt.
And it's not Dick Grayson Nightwing butt. It's Richard McCoy Trump butt.
Yeah.
2 different butts, but it is still a butt cover. But yeah, so Scout has most of those. I'm not sure if they have the Christmas thing or not. CBSN.
Because that's the one because they did a big exclusive deal where there's like every one of their covers has a variant.
Right. Yep. That was the other retailer group. So they have one. It's the only safe for work probably version because they didn't want the word shit on the cover. So we made a poop emoji. So it's the poop show cover. And they're drawn as babies. So there's that one as well.
I like that. The edited version cover there.
Yes, safe for work.
So, yes, Adam, thank you so much for joining me. This is the CBSI. This is the new release recap video. Check out Shit Show, guys. It was a fun read. It was a good story. I love to see where it's going to be going. So thank you.